All right. Welcome to this kind of sad, definitely bitter um week 1 wrap up podcast for the Midwest Sports Podcast, episode 6. Hearts are broken.
Very broken. Yeah, this is obviously anyone who's watched the first 5 episodes knows that we are huge Aaron Rodgers fans, and honestly, last night was pretty wild,
Heartbreaking would be the term.
heartbreaking, still in shock, and yeah, just kind of sad, honestly. Devastated, I guess is probably a better word. I don't need to sugarcoat it.
No, yeah, devastated is definitely the word that I would use. I found out at work because I was doing my job yesterday, and you come around after I finish up and you're like, hey, did you see what happened? I'm like, no, what happened? And you told me that Aaron Rodgers got hurt and was out, and I just straight up didn't believe you. I didn't believe you at all.
Hmm.
I was like, no, you're just messing with me. He's probably thrown for 4 touchdowns and 500 yards already. Like, no, he's fine. And lo and behold, I go and check, and nothing but sad devastation at the other end of that. I can't believe it. All of that hype, all of it, it's gone. It just it's awful. I'm not a Jet fan, but my heart is broken for Jet fans.
Yeah, honestly though, like it was crazy. So yeah, obviously we were both at work last night, and I had the game on my phone, just like, to the side, sound off, just, so I could kind of catch the first drive or whatever, just to see what happens. And like, I like kind of got distracted for a second, just like wasn't paying attention, and maybe I like had something to do. But I remember like looking back down at my phone, and I saw Rogers, like the camera cut, and he was like on the bench, or just like it looked like he was just walking towards the bench from like my perspective. And I was like, oh, they probably like went three and out. Um, and then I looked back a second later, and I saw Zach Wilson like on the field, and I was like, wait, what? Like, what the heck? Like, are they doing like some kind of trick play or something? And sure enough, next thing I know, they're putting him on a cart. So I like missed the play initially, like where he got hurt. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of then of course I went to Twitter, right? And it was like, um, he's hurt, like but the thing they were saying is ankle injury. And I'm gonna shout out one of my friends here, Brandon Schaus, who listens to the podcast. He actually like kind of, I feel like he's like kind of an athletic trainer of some kind. Like he works with different teams. He's interned with like some professional teams with like sports injury and stuff like that, maintenance stuff like that. Sorry if I screwed that up, Brandon, but he right away texted our fantasy group chat and said Rogers Achilles, like, done for the season. So he totally called it. Like, he saw it happen live and just totally called it. And so of course, like, people are saying, oh, like, ankle this, ankle that, and then people were like celebrating that the X-rays came back negative. Negative. I'm like, no, you idiots! Like, that's bad news.
Yeah, it
That
means it's
just
a
means
soft
that it,
tissue injury, and
yeah,
it
yep.
means it's even
And at
harder.
Yeah, and at 39, like,
Yeah.
good luck coming back from that. You know?
I'm terrified that this is all she wrote for Rodgers.
Yeah, I think he's done. I don't think he's playing ever again.
I would love to see him play and like be comeback player of the year and go win a Super Bowl next year, but I don't think like
Dude,
lucky the only thing on that is it's the beginning of the season. So there's a full year if he does want to come back, there's a full year of rehab there where he can have a time won't ever like there's no pressure to come back. Like we already know he's out for the season and he has all the time that he needs to maybe come back and if he wants to, but I don't see it happening.
all the time with him turning 40 in December
Hmm.
of this year.
Yeah.
So he'll almost be 41 by the time the next NFL season starts.
Also, as a Green Bay fan, this is bad news for us because that first round pick is going to be a second now.
In 2024. Yeah, I mean, I could care less about that now, honestly.
It's
Like,
just
whatever.
there's no silver lining at all for any of
No,
that.
no,
It's just,
absolutely none.
and when guys get hurt, you see like the on the field implications, but like, man, he was thriving in New York. He was doing so well.
The buildup was ridiculous. The hard knocks, like the day that he went on McAfee in March and was like, I intend to play for the Jets. Like, there was so much buildup to this. And then
he
he
lasted
played like 4
75
snaps.
seconds.
Right.
75 seconds of in-game time that was played is if I read the ESPN post correctly.
And hindsight's 2020, but we should have really never trusted the Jets O-line. Like, there's no way he was
I
ever
never
gonna
did.
play.
I never trusted
Yeah.
them. I knew they were going to get him killed, but I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't think, he would throw one pass as a Jet.
He didn't have a completion.
Oh, he went 0 for 1.
Yeah.
And so, like, we all thought he was going to get beat up, but I don't think any of us saw this coming.
It's just really shitty. And
dude, it's bad for football, man. It's bad for football.
It really is. And obviously, he didn't go on McAfee today. If anybody was thinking otherwise, I think you'd be stupid to think he would go on the show the night after his career basically ended. So, yeah, it's wild, dude. And then even yesterday, like Erin Andrews on her Instagram posted like a video of her and interviewing him and like how stoked he was. And I think his quote was, because she referenced like him saying that Super Bowl III trophy's looking a little lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, and so this interview had to be recent. And he was kind of like, yeah, at the end of the year, I think there's going to be 6 teams in the conversation for the ring. And we're going to be one of those teams. Like, you watch all of this stuff, you watch the Hard Knocks, and like looking back now, it's just so depressing. Like, I don't think I'm going to ever go back and watch any of that, because you just kind of know how it ends. Like, the buildup was just so massive for him. And it just totally and think about the Jets fans and then the people in the stadium too. Like, holy shit! Like, those people.
Those people
like
came
ESPN,
to see him.
ESPN caught that dude in the stands giving the middle finger. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It sucks, man.
Dude, if I'm a New York Jet fan, same old Jets, dude.
I know, they're cursed.
The cycle will never break.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they still won.
Yeah, and actually that was the story of the night. So last week we kind of talked about those 2 undrafted rookie wide receivers.
One of them went and won it.
Right.
Gibson,
that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a cool story.
I was watching that play and just like, that guy's got to be on top of the world right now. You make the team, and 2 weeks later you go win the game for your team that just lost their Hall of Fame starting quarterback. That guy's got to be like a hero in that locker room right now.
Yep. And it's really sad too, because the Jets defense looks really fucking good.
I think they had it this year.
Yeah, the defense was going to keep them in games, and yeah, it's just, man.
I actually do think they're still going to be good, but nowhere near their potential.
Oh, do you mean the Jets?
Yeah, I think they'll still be good. I think they can still win games, but
their defense is going to win. It's going to be the Broncos 2015. Their defense is going to keep them in games and win them.
But that formula does work. That formula does. I mean, there's room for it.
If you have a quarterback that doesn't commit stupid turnovers and has a brain.
Yeah. We'll see.
So, I don't know. Zach Wilson,
we'll see if any of that Aaron Rodgers mentoring paid off.
Yeah. And, we don't need to get too much into the Jets here because this is not a Jets podcast, but the only reason we were going to cover them is because of Rodgers, and that's not happening anymore.
So if you're here for New York Jets content, we'll see you next year.
Yeah, if he comes back, we'll hype it up all over again, and then
take 2, guys.
What's going to happen next? And Garrett Wilson will tear his ACL next year. No, hopefully not. But
don't put that in the universe. Don't you dare. No, Garrett Wilson's a stud. You shut your mouth. He's
I
gonna be
know he is,
fine.
but
He's gonna be
at
fine.
this
No,
point,
no,
at this
shut your
point,
mouth.
dude,
Shut your mouth. Don't put that in the universe.
if I'm the Jets, if I'm a Jets fan, I am finding another team after this. Like this is the nail in the coffin for me. If I was a Jets fan,
Dude, if
like,
I'm a
we went
Jets,
through.
if I was like a diehard Jets fan and this was our year and we had Aaron Rodgers and that happened, I'm done with football. Like, I'm just like, not even find another team. Just like, I'm just gonna go watch anything else. I'll root for college.
Oh man,
Like that's uncomebackfromable
yeah, I
to
agree.
have
I agree.
that and have it like the end the way it did, as fast as it did. The
Seriously.
NFL is scripted. That's it. The NFL is just scripted. This was
Oh my
planned from the
gosh.
beginning. They were going to torture the Jets.
One of my good friends, this morning texted like our group chat and was like, "This is like a huge buzzkill,"
Yeah,
and that's kind
this
of,
was
I like
bad
that
for
word.
football.
Bad for football, and like I think a bunch of people are excited just to see Rodgers in a different place, like
Well, I
just
mean, look at what happened
hopefully
the last
doing
couple
well.
of years. You have Tom Brady move and win a Super Bowl. You have Matt Stafford move and win a Super Bowl back to back years. And then last year, nobody big really moved besides Russell Wilson. But we don't talk about how that worked out.
Define big.
Well, like stars in the league in terms of
Yeah, I know.
quarterbacks. Well, I guess
I know.
Deshaun Watson moved too, but we all knew like no, like his time was up. He had run his course in the NFL. Like he had lost the fans. Nobody cared. But like Russell Wilson was supposed to be it last year, and then this year we have Aaron Rodgers. Like he was gonna bring it back. Like, oh, quarterback's gonna move. He's gonna bring it back to like they're gonna bring a Super Bowl back to New York. Uh, it just hurts. It hurts because that was gonna be some great football to watch.
Yep. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me is like just potentially knowing that a player who, I mean, I grew up early years watching Favre, obviously. Um, but then, like, I feel like, when I really came into my own as a Packers fan was through the Rodgers years, and, like, invested every season, even the years where, like, he broke his collarbone and got hurt. Like, I was still watching every game, regardless of who was playing. Like, I was still involved, like, so invested. And, even, like, I think that year he came back and they played Carolina the second time he broke his collarbone, like, and they had to just win out to go to the playoffs. They'd lost that game, but I still had faith then, that it could happen. Like, that's how much I believed in
Aaron
him, and
Rodgers has been that guy like my entire NFL experience. Like I started like really watching football, as a little kid, as much as a kid can watch football. Favre was still playing, and then Aaron Rodgers, like he started picking up, and like I grew as an NFL fan watching and cheering for Aaron Rodgers. The Broncos had no one to really cheer for. Like, yeah, we had Peyton Manning for a while, but that didn't last very long.
hmm
And like guys like Tom Brady, you just kind of grow to hate, like you just don't like him. And there's really no like there's Drew Brees, but here in Colorado, we don't really hear much about Drew Brees or anything like that. So just Aaron Rodgers was that guy. So it really feels like the end of an era.
definitely. Yeah, he's like the last old quarterback from that previous generation of quarterbacks to have still be in the league, and now that could be over.
It could be it. But like his impact on the NFL is going to last forever.
Yep.
And like
Yep.
because of people like us, people who grew up cheering from it. You even met him.
I did. Yeah, I did. We've talked about this before. We talked a little bit off air, but I kind of just wanted to take time to tell that story too today. Yeah, on top of just like being a fan, he was my favorite player, has been my favorite player for years. I actually, yeah, I had the opportunity to meet him, not like sit down and talk, but like be in the same place at the same time as him and get a picture. Um, it was when so there was a year, it was the year actually that he broke his collarbone the second time, but it was in that season. But so it was the preseason, right? And that year he was doing like every away game, maybe every game, but he was like giving away like pairs of tickets to the games, and he was like hiding them in notable places in the cities they were visiting. So like for instance, I think he started doing it in the regular season too, because they opened up, I think, against the Vikings week 1 in Minnesota that year. And I remember one of my friends, like, he hid them at the Mall of America, right? So one of my friends was down there, like, trying to, like, find, and apparently it was, like, him and Jordy Nelson, like, just walking around Mall of America hiding tickets. And so that, like, they came to Denver for a preseason game, and I was kind of, like, just following his Instagram because I had, this had become a pattern. So I was like, oh, maybe he's gonna um, do the ticket thing here. And so, like, I was working at a bank at the time, and I remember, like, just I got off at noon, and he had posted, like, a picture. He's like, they're in this flower bed or something, right? And then it ended up being on the 16th Street Mall. And so drove downtown, and actually kind of a funny story. Well, not really funny, but at the time, my girlfriend was she is a huge Packers fan, and she was driving the car, and I was like, well, I got to find a ticket, so just drop me off here because we couldn't find a place to park down there. So I got out, and so she was still trying to find a place to park when this all occurred. But so I get out of the car, I'm looking around, like, he had one in a phone booth, one in a flower bed. Couldn't find any tickets. There's Packers fans everywhere, just like Packers fans everywhere, just like running around frantically. And I'm walking around with these two Packers fans, and all of a sudden they start freaking out, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. And then I look over to my left, and out of, like, this bakery, Aaron Rodgers and Randall Cobb just walked out of the bakery. And I was kind of like, it was like, holy shit, like, this is really happening. And of course, like, they're probably dreading walking out of there with a bunch of Packers fans around, like, they're just gonna get mobbed. And so ended up shaking his hand and Cobb's, wishing them good luck for the season, which ended up not going so great. So maybe I'm just bad luck too, but it was really cool. And then I got to meet him, and here's the picture. So after it happened, texted all my friends, called my dad, went right to Target, got the picture printed and framed in an 8x10, and it's sitting on my kitchen island right now. So that's kind of my story. So for one moment in time, albeit I was intentionally looking for the tickets he dropped off, our paths crossed once, and I think it was super cool. So I think that only kind of adds to it as well, just like getting that experience with him, and just kind of solidifying my fandom at that point. And so, yeah, just really sad and devastated for him more than anything else.
Yeah,
just like that his career could be done. So
I really hope it's not. I hope he's got that comeback year in him. But we'll see.
So,
I'd love
so
to
do
see
I,
him.
but
I'd love to see him come back from this and win a Super Bowl, and then just, like, ride off into the sunset. That'd
be the ideal scenario, right?
Ideal. But I think, I do think that's a lot of wishful thinking. So,
yep.
There are some teams though that didn't have their starting QB get injured 75 seconds into a game, and
believe it or not, there's more than one person in the NFL. So
correct.
Let's get to some of this stuff.
Let's do it. So,
how about we start with your Broncos this week?
My Broncos this week. Where to begin? Well, in a word, boring. I mean, they played good. They should have won this game. It came down to 1 point, and we left 4 on the board with our kicker. That game was boring. It was hard to watch. It was it wasn't exciting football. I look at games like the Miami Chargers game, and I go, where was that? Where has that been? Why can't we have that? Instead of this slug it out, throw so many passes behind the line of scrimmage. Oh my Lord. Oh my God. The longest play in that game was 21 yards. It was boring. The most exciting play of the game didn't even count because the guy stepped out of bounds, dude. It was so boring. Like this one I don't think was on Russell Wilson. besides the fact that he refuses to throw the ball past 10 yards. But
can he see that far down the field?
Maybe not. I don't know. But I just this game, if we would have just had anyone who could run a quicker than a 5-second 40 playing the tight end position, we could have probably won that game. Because we lost Dulcich I believe in the third quarter, and after that our offense, like from the tight end position, just completely grinded to a halt because we had nobody who was that kind of like receiving tight end. All of our tight ends are blockers because Sean Payton had to have his way. So it was just boring. It was a boring game, and here we are, start of the season, new coach, opening up the season with a 1.17-16 loss. If the Broncos ever get to the number 16, that's it. You can turn the game off. That's all that's going to happen. We can't pass the number 16. We can't do it. So I wanted to talk about Russell Wilson's stat line a little bit. Here, we've got, 27 out of 34. I want to reiterate, 27 for 34. He threw 27 passes complete and only had 177 yards to show for it. He threw the ball 34 times and only had 177 yards to show for it. Are we playing Pee-wee football? What is this? Oh my God!
Let Russ cook, baby. Let Russ cook.
Let Russ no! Get him out of here. I don't care if he throws an interception, if it's basically a punt. Throw the fucking thing. Oh my God. If I have to watch Javonte Williams drop another pass behind the line of scrimmage, I'm going to tear my hair out. It was bad. Man. Like, it's just boring football. Where are the guys who want to win? Get me those guys.
Oh, I mean, Russell Wilson. Oh, that's hilarious. Was he intentionally checking down, or like these like designed screens that he was,
I would like to say that they were designed that way, but with the way, like, just watching him, it looks like he's just like, oh, well, Javonte's open, I guess. And he wasn't, like, all of the times. Like, it never worked. None of it ever worked. I think some of them were designed, but I just feel like the Raiders just knew what was going to happen. They knew that we weren't going to take those deep shots. They were stacking the box up. And, like, yeah, our receiving position is essentially a merry-go-round of fans we pulled out of the stands 20 minutes before the game. But, like, come on. We've got Cortland Sutton and a plethora of losers who I don't even know half their names because they were called up from the practice squad 3 days ago. Like, I'm pretty sure Jordan Humphrey, the guy who caught the first touchdown, he was not a Bronco, like, at all in practice this week. He got called up, like, the week before. And can our front office invest in some receivers who aren't made of glass? Like, I love Jerry Jeudy, but I want him out. Get him out. Let's get some draft capital. Let's get some other poor sucker to pay him millions of dollars to sit on the bench hurt every year. A hurt player does you no good. I said it before when Tim Patrick got hurt. I'm going to say it again. It doesn't matter because we're leaving these guys on the depth chart who don't play, and we think that they're there. We think they're going to be healthy. So we don't upgrade the position, and we just get stuck with all these guys who can't play. Like, this is not the first year this has happened. Why can't the Broncos management see that? Like, if the receivers are the problem, we're not getting separation, man. What do you mean if? We're not getting separation. And when we are, Russell Wilson's throwing it into a double-covered Javonte Williams 3 yards behind the line.
Dude, if the Broncos aren't careful, they're going to fuck around and find out what the Browns are about with this QB carousel and chronic shambles of seasons. Like, Jesus.
Like, I can't honestly say this one's on Russell Wilson, but that doesn't make his performance good. Like, he didn't play bad. He played good, but he played safe. He played too safe. He played boring. It wasn't good.
The Peyton way, baby. That's how he
And
went 7-9 with Drew Brees for 3 years in a row.
we need to talk about the defense for Denver. What the fuck? Outside of Patrick Surtain, what the fuck is our defense this year? 0 sacks. Single digit pressure. What are we doing? Garoppolo had all day to throw. We could not get a stop on anything. It was so bad. Our defense this year is going to give me a heartburn. Because they need to be, they should be good, and they're not. And it's because Vance Joseph is bad at his job. And Mathis does not know how to cover. Whoever was covering Jacoby Myers got torched all day. Jacoby Myers, who I had on my bench in fantasy because he was projected to get like 10 points, got 27 fantasy points. Where's his stat line? I want to see if I can find it.
I mean, to be fair, the Broncos knew Vance Joseph was bad when he was head coaching a few years ago. I don't know what in the world.
All right, here we go. 10 receptions, or 10 targets, 9 receptions, 81 yards, 8.1 yards per target, and then 2 TDs.
Cool.
That's Jacoby Myers, the guy who fucked the Patriots season last year.
Yep. He's
what?
Cooking.
What even is that?
I will say the one play I saw that I really remember from flipping back and forth was Pat Surtain holding Adams. So, I mean, you have that going for you if he's your best defensive player.
I believe, I need to go back and find the actual stat line, but I believe the stat was when Surtain was on Devontae Adams, he only allowed 2 catches for not a whole heck of a lot of yards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just roasting. I'm just trying to.
So, like, Surtain was the bright spot on that defense because he's gonna be like, he locks it down. That guy's gonna be so good for the season. As long as he can stay healthy, he's gonna be great. But it's not gonna matter if we can't get a single pressure. What did we pay Frank Clark for? The Broncos, if they sign one more Chief who used to be good, I'm gonna quit being a Broncos fan at this point. Because we pick up these Chiefs that were used to be good, and they stink. Flashbacks to Jamal Charles. Oh my goodness. I don't think is that his name? Did I get that right? Something Charles.
Yeah, it's Jamal. I think
it is.
Hey, you said earlier that the Broncos gave up or lost 4 points from like a field goal and an extra point.
Yes, we missed our opening touchdown extra point, and we missed a field goal, I believe, in the third quarter. Or it was towards the end of the second, maybe.
Remember on like the second or third podcast? Yeah, I don't remember which one it was. Remember when I was like, wouldn't it be a good idea to bring in Mason Crosby, who isn't currently playing?
This is why I am this is why I was skeptical of Sean Payton when we hired him. He brings in his guys. There are so many former Saints in our backup roles on our team, and Will Lutz, dude, he stinks.
I don't understand that. He hasn't won a Sean Payton hasn't won a Super Bowl since 2009. Like, what makes him think? And he had success with the Saints, but they continually lost in the playoffs or went again 7-9 3 years in a row. What makes him think bringing in his guys that couldn't win with him in New Orleans? What makes you think they're going to do it in Denver? That's just asinine to me.
I don't know. With a worse quarterback and a worse O-line and a worse receiving core and a worse defensive line and a worse kicker. Fucking Will Lutz, dude. Fucking Will Lutz. This is Denver. We can't have a bad kicker, bro. More like Will Lost, dude. Come on. Will Lutz. Lost. That's what he is.
Just a reminder, folks, this is only week 1, too. Imagine what he's going to be like week 17 when they haven't won a game yet. And our predictions are way wrong.
We're not going 0-16. Or we're not going 0-17. It's not going to happen. But you know who
I'm
might?
not gonna say it. Who?
Bears.
The Bears. The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears
The
still suck.
fucking Bears. Let's talk about that game before I lose my voice from being upset.
Well, I'll start off by saying I was right. You always bet against Justin Fields. Always. That dude sucks. I don't care what anybody says. It was fucking hilarious to see Soldier Field absolutely in fucking shambles by the third quarter after they were so hyped in the first quarter. Like that stadium was so loud. There was not many Packers fans in there, which is rare. So those fans were holding onto the tickets, not selling them. They're just like pumped for the season. Their fans talking trash, talking shit all offseason about, oh, Aaron Rodgers is gone now, like ha ha ha. And then the Aaron Jones show happens. And the fucking defense showed up, and that
Aaron
happened.
Jones. And dude, Jair's quote after that game.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I love Jair so much.
Brilliant.
What did you think was going to happen, dude?
Right. Who's DJ Moore anyway?
I want to highlight Justin Fields' stat line for
please do.
Pro Football Focus. So
please do.
24 out of 37. Where does that sound familiar? It's very, very dangerously close to, I don't know, maybe a certain guy who wears number 3 in orange and blue. And here's the kicker: 216 yards. How did he outgain Russell Wilson? How did Justin Fields outgain Russell Wilson?
Does that include the yards that Quay Walker returned on his pick six?
I don't know. But 1 TD, 1 interception, 4 sacks, rating 78.2. He played like, he played like Justin Fields.
Yeah, he did. And then he sold out his O line too, which they probably have some blame in this, but then
you don't get 4 sacks without your O line having a bad day. That can't all be on him.
Well, I mean, I kind of want to put it all on him. I fucking hate him. He's trash.
He is trash, but he also plays for the Bears. So how good can you be? If you play quarterback for the Bears, you're destined to be mid at best. So,
and he's not even close.
No, not even close. I love to laugh at Bears fans, and oh boy, I'm gonna laugh at them this season when their MVP caliber quarterback gets benched for somebody like Josh McCown. Like just some old dude, or like, who'd the Cardinals just let go of? Oh, why am I blanking on his name? Colt McCoy. Starting quarterback for the Bears, week 7.
Wasn't it? Who was I talking to? Didn't some people have Justin Fields as like an MVP candidate this year? Like
a lot of people did. A lot of people, like, he had odds. He had really good odds for MVP this year.
What? Has the guy completed a pass longer than 15 yards in his career? That wasn't a screen pass that went for 20?
I don't know.
Has he thrown it 15 yards down the field? Dude, if you look at his pass
yards
per
attempt, 5.8. This from Sunday.
If you look at his pass chart from Sunday, dude, it was like, he was throwing screens, checkdowns. He was just in shambles the entire fucking game. Shout out to the Packers D-line and Rashawn Gary, who only played like third down, still coming back from his injury. He made an impact. Yep. First round pick Luke Van Ness caught up to him. He looks
good
in the red zone. Dude,
he looks good. He's gonna be a stud.
He fucking tossed his salad right out of bounds, man. Just fucking. Justin Fields looked like a deer in the headlights, in complete shock that Luke Van Ness caught up to him. So, shout out to the kid. Shout out to Quay Walker for the pick 6. What a stud! Shout out to Jair Alexander for absolutely clamping Moore.
Well, I think there's one very important shout out you're forgetting.
No, there isn't.
I think there is.
No.
I think there is.
No, absolutely not.
I think that a lot of statisticians on the internet might disagree with you, my friend.
Did they watch the game, or are they just looking at a stat line?
We'll see. Either way, 3 TDs over 200 yards. That's right. It's your boy Jordan Love.
My boy, all right.
He's
my boy. You're my boy, Blue.
15 for 27, 245 yards, 9.1 yards per attempt. 0 interceptions, 1 sack, quarterback rating of 123.2, one of the best of the week out of quarterbacks. Number 10 in white, just Jordan Love. I almost called him Justin Fields for a minute. Ooh, I'm glad he's not our quarterback.
Without Aaron Jones, he might be at this point.
Man, I will say with Aaron Jones, he looks like he has life, but I think people are overreacting a little too quickly on him. But you can't lie, he played well. If he plays like that, Green Bay's good.
Yes, if Matt LaFleur gets his head out of his ass in the second quarter and uses, or actually after the first drive until the third quarter of every game, and actually uses Aaron Jones for the second quarter. I mean, they could have won this game by they could have 50 burgered the Bears. It would have been like Love could
That
have
would have been
had even
just
earlier.
that would have been incredible. The 50 burger the Bears.
I will say about the one thing I will say about Jordan Love is that he did what I have asked, right? Like he didn't turn the ball over. He managed the game, and yeah, he did. He didn't. I don't remember a time where he put them in a bad position by pulling Zach Wilson last night and running 40 yards backwards down the field. Or did you see that play where he just
No, I didn't see that
was
play.
under pressure and took off back behind me? Anyway, he didn't do anything stupid like that. Granted, the Packers O line is really good, and if David Bakhtiari can stay healthy, I think they're also another key to any success that Jordan Love will have. But I think he had a lot of time to make those smart decisions yesterday too because of the O line. So I want to kind of give a huge shout out to them. I mean, he better be buying them dinner for the next couple of weeks here just for this game. But the drives in the second quarter and maybe at the end of the first quarter where Aaron Jones, for whatever reason, wasn't utilized or wasn't the main focal point when they decided to move to A.J. Dillon. And Love is the A.J. Dillon and then the Love show where he was missing throwing behind wide open receivers on third down. Anyway, we don't have to talk about that, right? We'll just talk about his shining moments.
Let the good be the good this week, right? They played well. Let the good be the good.
Except for when Aaron Jones didn't have any touches on offense on the drives.
What about Romeo Doubs, dude?
Yeah, but Aaron Jones marched them down the field on that first drive before the tutty.
Well, looking at some stat lines here, what you don't really see is, other than Aaron Jones, it's very mediocre on that offensive line. Or not offensive line, but the offense. The offense in general. Romeo Doubs had the 2 touchdowns, but he still only caught 4 passes off of 5 targets for 26 yards. That's not impressive.
Right.
So
no, not at all.
But I will say, he looks good though. I think there's room for improvement there. Romeo Doubs, dude.
Dude, if he can just be a red zone automatic target, let's fucking go. Right?
You can make a lot of money in the NFL doing that.
Yes. James Jones did that for years, dude.
So
under Rodgers.
I think they found version 2 of him, honestly.
That would be, I mean, if he can be anything like James Jones, then hell yes. And we're also forgetting Christian Watson is out still, so they didn't have that spread the field deep threat speed down. Guy. Yeah.
Have we got any word about him this week?
Dude, I haven't looked.
He's still listed as questionable as of today.
Yeah, I mean it's Tuesday. Jesus.
So some things could change because I feel like him and Romeo Doubs had almost the same thing happen, and I could be way wrong about that, but I don't know. I want to see Christian Watson back on the field, and for fantasy purposes, I need it to happen.
Yep. So I basically, in summary for me, I want to give credit to number one, the defense for making Fields look like an absolute clown once again, like they always do. Preston Smith, by the way, undefeated against the Bears in his career, never lost. So
also,
we got that.
Matt LaFleur undefeated against the Bears in his career.
Head coaching?
Yes.
Or just in general?
Head coaching.
Yeah, okay. Head coaching. Shout out to Matt LaFleur, except for you, Aaron Jones, you fucking moron. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, only 41 yards rushing. What the fuck are you doing? He should be dropping 100.
Yep. And then I want to give credit to the offensive line. No, Aaron Jones, and then the offensive line, and then Romeo Doubs.
Doubs, dude.
And then Jair Alexander, aside from the defense, and then Jordan Love. He's I'm glad he managed the game and got out of there
I
with the
hope
dub after
I
his
hope
comment
that
on
after
Father's
what
Day.
you said about Rich Eisen's predictions for Jordan Love, I hope that somehow, some way, he finds what you just said about Jordan Love and goes, "I'm Rich Eisen. I told you so."
Dude, Rich Eisen was in shambles this morning with Aaron Rodgers. He's a Jets
I
fan.
watched that clip and was
Yeah, so did I.
alongside him. I was like in solidarity, like, oh
Yeah,
no.
for once. For once. He didn't sound like a complete clown. He actually was spitting facts. That was a sidebar, but I kind of so circling back, if we look ahead here to the next 2 weeks, and maybe we can talk about this for the Broncos too,
Mm-hmm.
but for the next two, so they go to Atlanta on Sunday, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Atlanta won. But then after that is the quick turnaround to the Lions on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta think Sunday's a must win now if they
Mm-hmm.
want to
If they want to have any shot
even
of having any sort of
the
wild, like
division,
good start to the season, they because the Lions, that's
anything.
an L, dude. That's just an L.
Well, that's what I mean. And but also if you can go in 2-0, it's kind of like if you win this game and like you're going like, and maybe the Lions win again this weekend too. But if you both go to that game 2-0, it's kind of like a statement a little bit, like, hey,
Maybe.
like, everyone thought the Packers were out of the division. Like I have them finishing third. I mean, it's obviously really early in the season, right? But I still think you would rather be 2-1 after 3 weeks than lose to Atlanta and then lose to Detroit, right, on a
Well,
short week, and then all of a sudden you're 1-2.
yeah. I
So
definitely
I
think
personally,
Atlanta, seeing what they did this week, I think Atlanta's going to be a good game. I think that they're going to play well and they're going to be in it. They're going to be
yeah,
in it. And like I think myself, much like everyone else, drastically overestimated what the Bears can do. So I want the Packers to like keep a level head. Like, yeah, you beat up on the
yes,
Bears, but it's still the Bears.
it's the Bears, yeah,
So
yep.
because like Atlanta, they look like they're in shambles offensively, but
Hmm.
we'll see. Also, Drake London, go fuck yourself. I'm so sick of you, dude. So sick of you. But
So this you agree though? This is a must win on Sunday
yes, I
then.
agree.
If
It's
the
a
Pat
must
like
win, and I want to look. I want to kind of like want to spotlight. You know what? Fuck it, spotlight. I want to run with that now, but I want to highlight kind of
Roddy,
like some of the old, like not old, but some of the matchups for this week for our
sure.
Packers and Broncos. We're going to Atlanta. Desmond Ridder over there. They're allergic to using tight ends. They're allergic to it. They can't do it. So
I
I
mean,
think,
good.
well, they got Kyle Pitts over there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying good in general. Don't use
Okay.
them. Fuck it.
Um,
Like better for the Packers.
so like they're gonna need their receivers to step up in that game, I think, and I think our secondary might be up to the task. Like, dude, Jair is gonna lock everyone down over there and put people on islands. So I actually think that
Oh,
I think we can hold Atlanta to a low score and just basically kind of play our game. Use Aaron Jones the second quarter. Thank you, fucking Matt LaFleur, and really be able to kind of just play our game. I really think that that's gonna happen this week.
yeah. I mean, I hope so. And this is a little bit of a turn for you, Jared. I mean, just a week ago, you had Green Bay losing this one.
I did, and then I have gotten a lot more confident in our defense, I think.
Good. Something
Granted, it
to
was
remember
against the
too.
Bears, but I have more confidence in that secondary now.
Yeah. Something to remember too. Eric Stokes didn't play on Sunday.
Mm,
I don't think he still hasn't played yet. I didn't see him
interesting.
out there at least. I feel
I
like he was in
Yeah,
street
I didn't
clothes.
see him. But Broncos,
But yeah.
the Broncos, I believe the Commanders are coming to town.
And
I'm actually gonna double check that one because now I'm second guessing myself.
look at us. Let's see. Broncos week 2. It is the Commanders. Yep.
Yes, so the Commanders are coming to town. That offensive line is in shambles. Maybe we can get a pressure, maybe even a sack if we're lucky, and like we all knock on wood at the same time. Um, but I actually think the Broncos have a good chance of winning that game. But we've got to start taking some more deep shots. The Commanders' defense is good. That defensive line is going to be kind of hard. It's going to be a good test, I think, for our offensive line to see where they are because they allowed 2 sacks on the Raiders' offensive line, and I think Max Crosby had a lot to do with both of them. So we'll see how we can handle Washington, and really. I think it'll just be a good testing ground for that Broncos offense, and we'll see about that defense, man. I don't know. I really lost a lot of faith in the Broncos defense. So
Yeah, not even a mention of Justin Simmons. Was he just nowhere to be found on some?
he was
Sunday
doing
or
his
what?
job, but when especially on a defense, it's such a like I would say like even more than offensively, like defensively, it's so team reliant. Like Justin Fields can or not Justin, godly Justin Simmons can be perfect, and our corner 2 is gonna get eaten up by fucking Jacoby Myers. So Vance Joseph needs to pull his head out of his ass and adjust when something's not working. So let's look at the divisions real quick. We've got the AFC West. Vegas. It's the only winning team out of the AFC West this year in week 1. So
Who would have predicted that?
No, that's like everyone
Nobody.
thought they were going to be the worst team, and I still think they will be, but they are off to a good start in week 1. Everybody's Kansas City's listed as 2, Denver listed as 3, and LA listed as 4. But it's week 2. It doesn't matter. But I just had to point that out. Vegas is the only team who has a W in the AFC West right now. And then the NFC East. North is what I meant to say. We've got Detroit and Green Bay sitting atop with 1 dub apiece, and then we've got Chicago and Minnesota laughably losing to the Buccaneers.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to.
I will say, when Justin Jefferson gets his contract extension, they are going to have to pay him as a wide receiver and a safety. Holy shit, that guy can throw a hit.
Yeah.
On that Kirk Cousins pick, he laid that man out.
Kevin O'Connell pulling a Matt LaFleur and just avoiding his star player for an entire half, basically.
2 targets in the second half.
That's going to do a lot of good there.
That's going to make all the fantasy owners happy.
Shout out to Captain Kirk Cousins. I hope the Vikings give that fucking guy a lifetime extension, dude.
Dude, lifetime fully guaranteed.
Machine, check down machine, turnover machine, but he'll give you 300 yards and then lose.
Yeah.
So you fucking love to see it.
Dude, Justin Jefferson's going to want out this year. I'm calling it. He's going to be like, get me out of here.
He hasn't signed his contract yet, right?
No,
as far as I know.
No, he hasn't. But if they're gonna give him until he's gonna be a deadline move because they're gonna be like, hey, do you want to stay? And then they're gonna force him out so they can get some sort of. Because if they can't get any letting him walk is the worst thing they can do. And I know that he won't sign a franchise tag. No chance in hell he signs a franchise tag. He will hold out.
No, I mean, the Viking, he's gonna get his money. The Vikings are gonna re-sign him. I think. I don't know, he's got enough rapport with Kirk.
I think he's gonna want out, dude. If this is signs of things to come, he's gonna want out.
I mean, it would be funny because you look at their schedule upcoming, and it is brutal, man. They're going to Philly on a short week in 2 days.
Dude,
they're gonna be cooked.
Philly, are you okay? Can we get the offense working this time, please?
Hey,
thank you.
Week one.
Dude, defense won this year or this week. Defense won.
Honestly.
Unless you are named Miami or LA.
Oh, so now you're not going to shout out Jordan Love?
No. That was your job.
Okay.
No, your role.
No.
You're the Jordan Love guy.
No.
Yeah, you're the Jordan Love guy. You're the Jordan Love guy. So that's what it's looking like moving around the league or moving around our divisions.
Yeah.
We've got some interesting things. I think that there's a very high possibility that the Vikings do not win until week 4. Dude,
they're cooked. They're already cooked. They're done.
I think
I'm already ready. I'm already ready to start spewing hot takes and rearranging my division predictions, dude.
No. There's no rearranging. That's in stone.
I know, but I'm already fucking ready. I'm ready to swap Green Bay and the Vikings. I'm already fucking ready.
Let's set that. I'm going to bed. All right. Let's let them play each other first and see how it goes.
When do they play each other? Isn't it not for a long time?
It's late, I think. I don't think they play until week
8.
Yeah, I was gonna say 7
is the first one.
I think. Okay.
Week 8 and then week 17 is.
Yeah, because they always
the
have to
second
save a
matchup.
divisional matchup for the last 2 weeks. I don't actually like that. I wish they wouldn't do that. Like make all of the
Yeah, I think
divisional
it's dumb.
rounds like divisional matchups. Like we should be able, like teams should be playing like if, dude, I remember like sometimes it works out, but I want teams to play each other to get into the playoffs, like wild card teams. Like I don't want
Right.
the last place person in the division playing, the second place team who's trying to get a wild card spot,
Yeah.
I want
Kind of like last year.
yeah, like it's just I don't know. It seems really bland. Like I kind of get why they're doing it because like rivalries and nonsense and stuff, but like I really and like sometimes for division battles I could work out, like to win a division in like the last week or something, but nobody does that anymore. Everyone's got it locked up by week 16 division wise really.
Mm-hmm.
And it
I
really
remember.
doesn't feel like there've been like a this is for the division game. It feels like it hasn't been that way in a while.
Well, and like I remember, like when I was a kid, it was like if the Packers win and the 49ers and Rams tie and the Arizona Cardinals use Charmin Ultra Soft toilet paper, like then the Packers have a chance. It's like then the Packers have a chance to get in or something. Like it was like I feel like the last weeks of the season were just like these crazy like when it wasn't these divisional matchups at the end, it was like for whatever reason it just seemed like things played out differently as far as like records and stuff. And there was always like there was this one team where it's like they got a 1% chance to make it if like 4 ties and like a punt out of the stadium happens or something. It's
The
just like
end of the
fucking
season feels so bottlenecked.
yeah, yeah. And
And
then
it's starting to be the
this,
beginning of the season that way too. There was a lot of divisional matchups this week.
they're doing that on purpose too. And then the only stupid storylines you have for these games at the end of the year is like, oh, the Raiders are trying to upset the Chargers'
Well,
hopes at getting into the playoffs. It's
this
like
year we play
fucking come
Vegas at
on.
the end of the season, and so I have to open and end my season with this fucking stupid we can't beat the Raiders streak. I can't wait for them to be talking about, oh, it's gonna be 8 in a row. It's gonna be 8 in a row.
Shambles.
We stink.
Oh man.
Broncos fans, let's cry.
I'm totally drinking the Packers defense Kool-Aid, Joe Barry, not because of you, but because of I feel like your players are stronger than
Joe Barry's
your coaching abilities.
Joe Barry's
Yeah.
a clown. Well, my friend, that was week 1.
It was. I'm so excited. I love football's back, man. Well, aside from Rodgers getting hurt, but this is so fun. I'm just so stoked that the season's back. We're gonna, be talking most, just about every week, and I'm looking forward to it. Also, do you think they get rid of that Black Friday game now that Rodgers is hurt? Do you think they're gonna flex it to somebody else?
If the Jets are still competing that time of year, like if they're still relevant, then they'll probably keep it. But
okay,
but they're gonna get flexed out if like if the Jets keep jetsing.
I was planning on watching it, but not anymore. Obviously, sorry to anyone who like came here wanting our Rodgers takes every week, but that's just not gonna happen.
Can't make Rodgers takes if there's no Rodgers, man. I'm a cry.
I'll give him both of my Achilles if he wants them.
Yeah, I mean mine are probably no good, but he can have them.
Right.
I'm gonna start an Achilles fund. Donate your Achilles now, folks.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in. If you made it this far, again, we really appreciate it. So
we love you guys, and tell a friend. Be a friend. Tell a friend. Same bat channel, same bat place next week.